What's up, my bearded bros? I wanted to redo this intro for a couple of reasons. First off, the Chiefs officially released veteran linebacker Tamba Ali, one of the franchise cornerstones over the last 5 or 6 years, has played tremendously for them. Also, as I go into the video, you notice a slight cutoff when number 4 starts. I kind of lost some footage, so I do apologize. Two questions I want you to answer in the comment section down below as you watch this. So let me know which one of the free agents bound for this year to be signed tomorrow or soon after do you think will be the most overplayed player in free agency this year? Who do you think will be the most underpaid player in free agency this year? Maybe a ring chaser. My candidates, probably Jimmy Graham if he goes for a ring, for underpaid, and overpaid Kirk Cousins, just because I don't know why so many people are like, oh my god, Kirk Cousins is the second coming of Jesus Christ, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, with Tamba Ali, let's start with him as a 1A, I guess you should say. Tamba Ali, situational pass rusher, older, has injury history. A team that could be interested in that is a team that needs pass rushing help, and it has to be situational. Probably less than 40% of the snaps to come in, make that impact play if he has to. I think a good fit for him, if he doesn't command too much money, is the New England Patriots, who did something similar with a James Harrison type last year. I think it could be a tremendous fit. But we start off the actual video with the number 1 overall free agent this year, Kirk Cousins. Now, the team I see him going to, and what I'm probably going to do most of the time, is one free agent, one team that I think they're going to go to, one team I'd like to see him go to, and so forth and so on. One team I think he fits perfect for is the Minnesota Vikings. I think he brings Minnesota Vikings into the realistic conversation of Super Bowl contender. I think he makes them more capable fighting against the Rams and fighting against the Eagles. I think with the weapons of Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook on offense, I think it's an extremely attractive fit, especially with Kyle Rudolph at tight end, an underrated tight end in my opinion, and a defense like they have. I think it's the best fit for him. And then the place I would like to see him go, just because it'd be hilarious, is New York, the Jets. I think the Jets would be an okay fit for him. I think they love McCown a little bit too much, but it was reported once, a long time ago, and by long I mean a few weeks, a couple months maybe, that the Jets could potentially offer Kirk Cousins in his first year $60 million. Now, reason why I want to see him go there is because it would be hilarious to watch a team that fumbled away 2 AFC Championship game appearances into completely destroying their team, destroying their franchise, making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, take such a huge gamble. Now, I'm not saying I'm wishing for the Jets to fail in this case. I'm thinking, this is my logic as a football fan, not just a Patriots fan, football fan. I'm being equal here. When a team takes a huge swing, it's like a soap opera. You are glued to see if it fails. You are glued to see if it succeeds. If it succeeds and somehow it kickstarts the rebuild for the New York Jets, that would be tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. It would be a huge story, and I would love it. If it failed, I would find it absolutely freaking hilarious, just like I do whenever any huge free agency or free agent deal fails. Number 2, Drew Brees. Most likely staying in New Orleans, 99.9% chance. It'd be awesome to see a team like maybe Denver snipe him away. Most likely won't happen, though. Then you have Allen Robertson, wide receiver option, great 2015 season, disappointing 2016, and the injury like 4 plays into the 2017 season. So realistically, you're like 2 or 3 years removed from an actual good season. Great size, great deep threat, good speed. A team I could see him going to, and a team that I think he fits with, I'm going to do 2 of them, and I'm going to combo what I said for Kirk Cousins. If somehow New York can buoy Kirk Cousins to the Jets and can somehow sign Allen Robinson to pair with Robbie Anderson and Quincy Enunwa, I think that would be tremendously crazy and tremendously somehow effective. It would give New York a decent group of weapons. Austin Seferian-Jenkins been playing well for them. Robbie Anderson was a great number 1 wide receiver. I think if even moving him to 2 would make him even more deadly. pairing that with a Nunwa in the slot or something like that, maybe moving Anderson to the slot and a Nunwa at 2, and Allen Robinson at the 1, that would be a great offense. But a team I think he's most realistically going to is a team that needs wide receiver help, a team that needs weapons, and a team that has the money, the San Francisco 49ers. I think they're the most realistic fit with a big, strong arm like Jimmy Garoppolo and other wide receivers like Marquise Goodwin and such. I think it's a good fit. I think it gives them another deep threat weapon, and I think when you're going up against Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters in LA, and you're going up against Tyrann Mathieu and Patrick Peterson in Arizona, you need weapons, and I think it's a solid weapon for Arizona. And then at number 4, we have Sheldon Richardson. I think maybe he could replace Dontari Poe in Atlanta. That's a team I don't really talk about too often, Atlanta. Sheldon Richardson could replace Dontari Poe there. He's a little younger. Do I think he's a great fit for them? No. He could pair very well with Myles Garrett in Cleveland. Do I think he's a great fit for there? No. Do I think Cleveland can overpay him? Yes. Do I think they will? It's possible. But a team I'm going to change my mind. I had a team in my mind where I wanted him to go and where I thought he would fit the best. But I'm thinking team who needs defensive tackle help, who doesn't have to necessarily break the bank to bring him in, who has a chance at the playoffs, but yet needs a defensive tackle. I'm not going to say the New England Patriots, where they did just trade for Danny Shelton. But I'm thinking a team that's on the precipice, that needs a decent run defense. And I'm going to go with a team that I haven't really talked about. A team that I don't think is honestly in the race, but I think it's a tremendous fit. Now, close your eyes and just think about this. Picture Sheldon Richardson, defensive tackle, in a Houston Texans uniform, pairing him up with J.J. Watt on the outside. I think that would be crazy. I think it would give him nice size run defense. I think it would help him be able to stop Leonard Fournette against Jacksonville. I think it would definitely make them upset candidates, especially with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. I don't know why, but to me that fit just, it was like a first kiss with all the fireworks in my head. I think that would be such a good fit. An underrated fit probably, and I think someone's going to roast me for just saying that alone. Anyway, guys, this is where the video is about to cut off because the footage I lost is about to blend into, or the footage I'm replacing that I lost is about to blend into what I had already recorded. So, number 5, Sammy Watkins. Hey, explanation, inbound. Apologize for the slight cutoff, and here you go. Anyway, guys, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you are new. And Sammy Watkins, yeah, let's go. Woo! And Sammy Watkins, who's had an injury history, who was kind of inconsistent last year and hasn't lived up to potential. When I think of teams like that, I think of a team with a good defense who needs help on offense, but not a ton of help. I'm thinking of Baltimore Ravens, or, as Joe Mixon once said, Cincinnati Bengals. Now, A.J. Green can't do it on his own, and since the last few years, the Bengals have hollowed out their offensive capabilities with the free agency purge that they had on their offensive line last year, where they went everywhere else. And with John Ross being injured most of last year, I think Sammy Watkins would be a decent fit in Cincinnati. I think it makes sense. I think he'd help them compete. And it would be over. He's a tough one to predict. He really is. And you have Andrew Norwell, guard. I would love to see him go to Seattle. I don't think he can get too much money if he goes to Seattle, but I would like to see him play for Seattle. Help him solidify that O-line a little bit. Now, what teams do I think need him? I don't necessarily know. After the Combine, there are a lot of teams out there with a need at guard who are probably like, we don't draft high enough to get a Chubb or a Saquon or one of the quarterbacks. Maybe we can get one of those tremendous guards who had a tremendous showing at the Combine. So I think a lot of teams are probably going to target rookie guards over Norwell, especially considering the market's not. I don't think it's great for him, but I think he'll sign somewhere solid. Like I said, I'd love to see him in Seattle. You have Kyle Fuller, who has been transition tagged by the Bears, which I believe lets them be capable of match any offer he gets. I would like to see him, if they swing and miss on someone else, as you will see in a second. I would definitely like to see Kyle Fuller in New England to maybe pair with Stephon Gilmore. Maybe in San Fran to pair with Richard Sherman, which would be lovely. But I'll say it again. Either I would like to see him in the AFC North, in all honesty. Or one team I think might take a swing. A team that saw him twice a year. The Green Bay Packers. After trading away Demarius Randall, I don't think they can offer Kyle Fuller a huge contract. But it would be fun to see Kyle Fuller play for the Packers. It really would. Then you have Case Keenum, quarterback, who I don't think is going to take or get a huge contract just where I think with this draft class, with Kirk Cousins at the top and so many decent, I guess I should say decent quarterbacks available, I think a lot of teams are going to view him as a bridge quarterback, and I think one team that's going to do so and one team that's going to swing in doing so is the Denver Broncos. I think he signs with Denver. I think he gets a 2-year, $28 million contract, somewhere around there, maybe a $30 million contract for Denver, and I think Denver drafts a quarterback, and I think they view Case Keenum as that bridge. Maybe Keenum plays so well that Denver likes a rookie, and they're like, hey, we'll trade him away, get you a good team to play for, get you a nice big contract there, something like that. My heart tells me he's going to Denver. Now, the number 9th overall free agent, Malcolm Butler, not returning to New England, in my opinion. I think there is maybe a 0.1% chance that they do, just because I feel like he's going to command so much money. And in doing so, I think the one team, in my mind, that fits the best with him is a team that already made a huge free agent splash already, and that's the San Francisco 49ers, who signed Richard Sherman. If you go from what the 49ers did last year, winning off 5 straight, to them now signing Richard Sherman and Malcolm Butler, I think that makes the San Francisco 49ers a serious threat. It would be extremely hard to throw on them when you have such physical cornerbacks like that. Maybe they also draft a corner who could be the third and can learn behind him. I think it gives them definitely more depth. Kyle Shanahan would definitely know what to do with a Malcolm Butler, having faced them in the Super Bowl with Atlanta, having seen him at work and what he does. I think he could become infatuated with him. I think just the pair of Sherman and Butler would be tremendous. Number 10, Trumaine Johnson, another very good cornerback who is available as well. I'd like to see him go to Green Bay, in all honesty, but I don't think they have the salary cap room to sign Trumaine Johnson. I would like to see him go to Detroit as well. But one team I think could swing on him is, and the team I haven't really mentioned, is the Chicago Bears. Now, do I think the Chicago Bears are the favorites to land him? No. In all honesty, no. It's the Bears. No player is probably going to want to go to the Bears and think, we're going to win a Super Bowl in Chicago. Yeah. But if they can somehow retain Kyle Fuller and then sign Trumaine Johnson, I think it does make that defense a little bit stronger. And when you're going up teams like Minnesota and Green Bay twice a year, I think you need a strong secondary, and I think he could form that, definitely. Gives them a solid secondary, and they could concentrate somewhere else in the draft if they have to. It would definitely fill one of the holes. And numbers 11 and 12, I'm going to do them both at once. Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford, Minnesota Vikings, backups that were starters but are now backups and are now free agents, like every quarterback from Minnesota. Now, these two teams, I think, Sam Bradford, who's number 12, goes to Buffalo, becomes a bridge quarterback for someone that Buffalo drafts. Maybe they trade the 22nd, 23rd overall pick for a higher pick and draft a quarterback there. I think he becomes a decent bridge quarterback, but with doing that, the risk that Buffalo runs is if Sam Bradford gets ready, your rookie quarterback might not be healthy. So I think what Buffalo's going to have to do is sign 2 free agent quarterbacks just in case. And I think Teddy Bridgewater, with his mobility, his speed set that he had before he got hurt, I think his best fit, if they don't draft one and if they can't get Kirk Cousins, is the Arizona Cardinals. I think just seeing him mixed with a David Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald would be nice. I think signing him and maybe like drafting, if they can, a Lamar Jackson, who is not, I'm not going to say just like him. He's not. He's has similar traits. I think he could learn Lamar. It would give Lamar Jackson definitely a chance to grow a year if he has to, and it would definitely give teams a chance to see if Teddy Bridgewater's healthy. I don't think he gets a good deal here. I think he gets a 1 year, maybe $10 million max deal where he has that injury history. No one's really seen him play too much. I think they'll pay him like a backup. I think he gets maybe a second-year option for him where he can test free agency after a year after seeing what he has. And he could definitely be a candidate to be like, hey, signs with the team, has a decent camp, gets traded. That could be what happens to Bridgewater. Number 13, Bashaud Breeland. His ideal fit for me is New England. I think a good coach like Bill Belichick can get the most out of Bashaud Breeland. He is streaky at times. He has great talent, and he's in his prime. I think Belichick could make a move on him. I think they do definitely need one to pair with Stephon Gilmore, and I just like the fit of Bashaud Breeland. They don't have a lot of cap room, which could be an extreme hindrance, but I think he could be one of those players that's like, I want to play for a contender. I'm in my prime. I want to make the playoffs, just like Gilmore did when he signed with New England, and that would be nice to see. Nate Solder, I think, takes less money than he is worth and returns to New England, more so for familiarity and stuff like that. He could very well go other places. He's going to be a high in demand tackle who could honestly very well get overpaid. But I think familiarity has him return to the Patriots, and you'll see that with probably some of the free agents here. Number 15 free agent Dontari Poe. I think he returns to. No, he's not returning to Atlanta. I think he is gonna go to. He could very well go to the Cleveland Browns if they somehow don't land Sheldon Richardson. I think he'd be a good fit there, pairing, like I said, with Jamie Collins, Myles Garrett. That would be a tremendous fit there. Other places I think he fits. Pittsburgh Steelers could be a decent fit. I don't think they have the money for Dontari Poe, though. I think. Oh, now this is going to be risky here. Now, think about it for a second. A team that needs a defensive tackle, a guy who's as athletic and big as Dontari Poe, a team, after playing for Atlanta and Kansas City in their playoff runs, he's going to want to play for a contender. He's going to want to definitely play for a contender. And when you think contender, you think teams like the Atlanta Falcons, the Dallas Cowboys, and that's where I think he lands, in Dallas, for the Cowboys. I think he's on that defensive line with DeMarcus Lawrence. I think maybe he'd take less money to play for the boys in the Star, just for the fact that the Cowboys are a playoff caliber team who need to shore up their defense, and I think he could definitely be a huge piece there. Now, where would they probably rank on the Dontari Poe sweepstakes? Probably ninth, probably the ninth most likely team. But there's something about that fit that just it feels good. Dontari Poe and DeMarcus Lawrence on the same same defensive line or same defense would be just tremendous. Justin Pugh, an offensive lineman, probably best fit at guard. If the Seattle Seahawks don't sign Andrew Norwell, I could see them going for Pugh. The most concern about him here is we have a good draft class at guard this year. Well, in my opinion, a decent draft class at guard this year. And with Pugh being okay, I guess you should say, they run the risk of him being absolutely terrible if he's not a good fit. I don't think he gets a huge contract here, but like I said, I think he fits in Seattle. I think he would help their offensive line a little bit. And at number 17, Zach Brown, linebacker. He's had a decent early career. He is a premier run-stuffing linebacker. I'd like to see him in New England, but I don't think New England has the money to sign him, or he is just that damn solid. Places he could also go, Dallas. I do like that there. But the place I think he will most likely go, a team that needs extreme linebacker help with Shazier out, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need tremendous help at linebacker. Zach Brown would be such a good fit. I think maybe he'd take less money to play in Pittsburgh, especially with an offense like they have. He could be a very solid piece. And then if Shazier came back healthy, pairing a Zach Brown with a Ryan Shazier would be fun, such fun football to watch. Richard Sherman, number 18, signed with, or is going to sign with San Fran, which is awesome. Then we got defensive end Muhammad Wilkerson, and now when I think about him, I think a guy who's huge, athletic, but has a shit piss poor attitude. So when you see that, you think of a team that maybe has a history of dealing with people with attitude problems and getting them to kind of line up, get in line, kind of thing. There are some teams that have a very poor history, I should say, struggling with people with attitude issues. And you got to think, defensive end, teams who need it, there's a decent amount who need a defensive end in the draft, but if it was like an Indianapolis Colts, I think, hey, they're like, we have a realistic chance of getting Chubb. Maybe they go there instead. Because the only bad thing about free agency is some of these guys won't be signed until after the draft. Because teams are going to see if they can get the rookie before the free agent. Now, Muhammad Wilkerson could very well be a candidate to be one of those kind of players. I think he best fits in San Fran. I think Kyle Shanahan would be a good coach for him. He's a very understanding guy. Doesn't have a huge history of dealing with people with attitude problems, but I think John Lynch is a player's GM, and I think Shanahan's a player's coach, and I think that's really what Muhammad Wilkerson needs. They have a lot of cap room. I don't think he commands a huge salary, but I think he would be a solid fit there to solidify that front seven in San Francisco. Then you have number 20 overall free agent Carlos Hyde, a solid running back. I would love to see him bring that power game to Green Bay. That would be nice. But my best fit for him, in all honesty, is a team that's interviewing DeMarco Murray this week. I think he fits tremendously with the Detroit Lions. They have an incredible receiving back already with Theo Riddick. I think pairing him with a power back like Carlos Hyde, with a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, and wide receivers like Golden Tate, I think that brings another element to that offense. I think Matt Patricia, wanting to step out of Bill Belichick's shadow, will go after a running back free agent. Maybe they don't have the best cap room, but I think that would be a really good fit. And he moves up. I think they contend for a wild card. Do they get it? I don't think so. I think they have too many holes everywhere else, but I love that fit. And then number 21, Jimmy Graham. Two scenarios here, or actually I should say 3 scenarios I see playing out here. I'm going to make an exception to the one perfect fit, one fit I see him going kind of rule. 3 scenarios with Jimmy Graham. He's been kind of inconsistent. 10 touchdowns last year, tremendous. He could A, chase a ring, B, chase the money, or C, chase the fit. Now, there's 3 different scenarios there. One, if he chases a ring, he could sign with the New England Patriots or a team like that with already a very solid tight end. He could sign with a team like Pittsburgh, but I don't think there's enough balls there. But with like a New England, he could pair with a Rob Gronkowski. If Rob Gronkowski gets hurt, he could step in a number 1 role like a Martellus Bennett did a couple of years ago. It would be definitely a better backup tight end than Dwayne Allen. If he wanted to chase a ring, he could catch passes for Tom Brady for 1 or 2 years, something like that. But with the systematic rule, I want to go with New Orleans. He played there before. New Orleans hasn't really had the tremendous threat that they had at tight end since he's left. So I think for nostalgic reasons, he could definitely play there. But if he wants to chase the money, I think he can go to the Cleveland Browns. If they can pair him with Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon, David Njoku, and possibly a Saquon Barkley at a number 1 overall pick and a mobile, decent quarterback like Tyrod Taylor, I think it kind of matches the quarterback talent that I'm not saying Tyrod's equal to Russell Wilson, but mobile quarterback who can throw. I think he's kind of familiar in that system. I think Cleveland can give him a decent amount of money, and I think he instantly makes that team a lot better, and they can definitely contend with the AFC North if they improve that defense a little more. And that offense would actually be fun to watch. And I think if they sign Jimmy Graham, I think Cleveland Browns would be capable of going 8-8. 9-7, somewhere around there. Then we have safety Kenny Vaccaro, an interesting safety as well. Has never lived up to his potential in New Orleans. He needs to find a system that can that can show off his strengths and help his weaknesses, I should say. A system like that I could see happening is the New England Patriots. Devin McCourty's getting older in years. He could definitely learn the system, and Bill Belichick has a tendency to help cover people's weaknesses and help play them to their strengths. I think with the DB field that they have, he wouldn't play probably as much in other systems, and I think that would help limit the I should say the plays where he can be exposed a lot, and that would be a good fit. Other teams that could very well sign him, you have a Green Bay who might not have the greatest safety need, but could use definitely the talent on defense. And a team that I would love to see him play for is the Dallas Cowboys. They need safety help, I believe. They need just overall secondary help. And I think this could be a player Jerry Jones falls in love with. It wouldn't be the first time he's took a chance on someone who's been a disappointment, but it would be interesting to see. I'd like to see him in New England or Dallas. Then you have Eric Reed, almost the same situation here. Only problem is injury concerns limit him. I think with the injury concerns, he's going to demand a lower contract than Vaccaro. Whether he's been more consistent or not, I don't think it really matters. A team I would love to see him play for, two teams, the Los Angeles Chargers or the Baltimore Ravens. Now, do they need safety help? Maybe not necessarily. They don't need safety help. I think he's a good fit for their systems. He pairs in their backfields quite well. Whether he's a second safety, third safety, he's definitely one of those rotation players where you could put him in for maybe your top safety or your second safety, and you wouldn't necessarily be scared of what kind of play he's going to play, and he can play the run decently well, and he can play the pass decently well. I think he pairs well with Jimmy Smith in Baltimore if he's healthy. I think he pairs well with the front seven in Los Angeles as well. He can cover tight ends, running backs, if he has to. He might not be the greatest at it, but he can do it. And he can definitely be coached up. Then you have Nigel Bradham, linebacker. I believe he played for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. He had a career year last year, and he's best fit for the 4-3. I don't know what teams are necessarily going to play 4-3 this year, and it could very well depend on who people draft in the draft. Now, a team that could sign him, New England Patriots, they do need linebacker help. Steelers, they do need linebacker help. The Browns, they do need linebacker help as well. But a team I think could very well be interested in a team I haven't really mentioned yet. Now, who could that be? A team I haven't mentioned yet. I think it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I haven't really mentioned them yet in this video. The Indianapolis Colts, they need better linebacking help. They need better everything. I think Bradham's a decent fit in Indy, especially with Reich coming from Philadelphia. He knows what Bradham can do. I think it's a really solid fit. I don't know what kind of contract they can give him, but the fit's there. I like it. Also, forgot to mention, Ndamukong Suh being cut by the Dolphins. This was just let out not too long ago while recording this video. That could result in two things. Dontari Poe could very well go to Miami for a cheaper contract than what they were going to pay Ndamukong Suh, so they can save money there and still have a kind of an equally talented player. But I yet to see that, and with that, Ndamukong Suh, he's probably going to go to a place that's going to pay him a lot of money. He could definitely go to Cleveland where they could pay him a lot of money. But he has kind of a history, so teams would have to take a chance on him. And I think teams that are willing to take a risk like that would probably be the San Francisco 49ers. Like I said, they could go after Muhammad Wilkerson. If they could somehow land Muhammad Wilkerson and Ndamukong Suh in San Fran, that front seven would be big, and it would be scary, and it would have a bad attitude. But anyway, let's continue with the top 25 current free agents, because Ndamukong Suh hasn't been released yet. He most likely will be, though. Avery Williamson, a decent 3-4 inside linebacker last year. He's really good against the run, but he can't cover too well. Could he play 3 downs? Like, I read it like that because I'm actually looking at the NFL.com article about the top 101 free agents. Now, just that question alone, can he be a 3-down player, brings out a very good point. He's probably not a 3-down player. He's probably ideally fit for obvious run situations, or maybe someone can coach up his coverage skills a little bit. And when I think that, I think a team who struggles against the run. I think a team that maybe not necessarily struggle against the run, but has to deal with the run a lot. And when I think that, I think of teams in the AFC North like Baltimore, Cincinnati, or Cleveland, who have to deal with Le'Veon Bell twice a year. I think New York Giants, Eagles, or Washington Redskins, who have to deal with Ezekiel Elliott twice a year. Especially if you're the Washington Redskins, that have to also deal with Jay Ajayi twice a year. That, you know what? I made up my mind. I think Washington Redskins, I think they can take a chance on Avery Williamson. Will he get a huge contract? Probably not. It'd probably be in the $9 million a year range. Ideally for them, probably be less. I think they try to solidify a defense that struggled last year. I think he'd be good against the run. I think he helps. Like I said, they need a team that can stuff the run, especially against Dallas. Don't have to worry so much about that in New York. Maybe he doesn't play as much when they face New York, since New York's going to be more of a passing team, unless they somehow get Saquon Barkley at number 2. Then they would probably definitely need a run-stuffing linebacker in Washington. And I think overall he's beneficial to the team. I think it's a good fit. Now, the system itself, I don't think it fits in a 3-4. I don't know if Washington fits a 3-4, I should say, but he's a good run-stuffing linebacker, and I think he could move to a 4-3 if he needs to. But like I said, if he needs to. He could also fit a team that runs 4-3 and 3-4 on different situations, kind of like a New England Patriots who can run a 3-4 or a 4-3. Or sometimes, if you're bold, a 2-5 system with 5 linebackers, which is just nuts, but, could work, I guess. Never. Then, since Richard Sherman signed, I'm not going to count him as a top 25 free agent. I'm going to go with... I'm going to jumble the next few players into one free agent. Morgan Burnett, safety from the Green Bay Packers, who has been decent, but he's been injured quite a bit. Dion Lewis, running back from the New England Patriots. And Star Lotulelei from, I believe, the Carolina Panthers. I think Lotulelei, for example, Dion Lewis, for example, and Morgan Burnett, for example, are not franchise builders. They are solid players who, playing for different teams, I don't think will be tremendous. I don't think they'll make the big plays. I think they will be solid pieces, though, to solidify places. And you know what? I'm going to pick one team for all 3 of these players. A team that needs a safety like Morgan Burnett. A team that needs a running back like Dion Lewis. And a team that needs a defensive tackle like Star Lotulelei. Now, actually, no, there's 2 teams like this. Now, you probably won't agree with me there, because a team making a push at 3 of the top 30 free agents in the free agency, I should say, is probably unheard of. A team that can take a chance, has cap room, and could sign them to limited year deals, like Burnett could sign a 1 or 2 year deal, Lotulelei could sign a 2-year deal. 1, San Francisco. Solidify the defense with Morgan Burnett, even though he has an injury history, and start with Lotulelei. You could do a less guaranteed money, more incentive deal for Burnett, and with Lotulelei, you can sign him for not like a huge contract, but he's not an impact player, but he's solid, and I think that helps as well. And they have a need at running back, and Dion Lewis is athletic. He's played with Jimmy Garoppolo for a couple years, so I think the chemistry's there as well. He can receive out the backfield. He can run, so I think he's a good 1-2 punch with another running back. He could very well fit in San Francisco. Or these players could all go to, I'm gonna go with Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Colts need a lot of help on defense and offense. I think getting rid of Frank Gore and putting in, I believe, Dion Lewis with Marlon Mack, I believe his name is, would be an interesting fit as well. It would give Andrew Luck, if healthy, a target out of the backfield who's reliable, who can catch, does have injury concerns, just like his quarterback, but I think it would help alleviate some of the pressure on the quarterback. I think throwing some screens and stuff like that to Dion Lewis can help the Colts as well, and they do have to go up against a tough defense like the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with Latulilalele and Burnett, I think it solidifies some of the positions on defense that they need, and they're not high-impact players, which the Colts probably admittably need, but I think they're solid role players that the Colts could use. It would be definitely better than the free agents they signed last year. And just for a fun extra, guys, I am going to throw in free agent wide receiver Terrell Pryor. Tried his chances in Washington last year and kind of flamed out super hard, in my opinion. Like, he actually flamed out really bad last year compared to the year before in Cleveland. Now, teams I haven't really mentioned this so far: Tampa Bay. I haven't really mentioned Atlanta. Star Lotulelei would be a decent fit in Atlanta now that I think about it. Decent fit. Now, other teams I haven't mentioned: Arizona. Could they use a Terrell Pryor? I think so. Well, actually, no, I did mention Arizona with Teddy Bridgewater. Terrell Pryor, I think 3 locations he could definitely go. Arizona to solidify the or try to solidify the receiving core, to take a chance on him maybe. Pair him with a Larry Fitzgerald. Definitely gives another weapon to whoever's quarterbacking for that team. Another team he could play for, I'm thinking maybe a New York Giants. If they get rid of Brandon Marshall, pair him with Shepard and Odell Beckham would actually be nice. It's a decent fit for New York, but I think he needs a solid quarterback to make him solid. And Eli Manning's getting kind of older, and I don't know what their plans are for the draft. I have them going for a quarterback, but that all depends on if Saquon Barkley's available. I don't think they can pass him up realistically. And it's just jumbled as well. Third team I could see Terrell Pryor go for: Miami Dolphins. They definitely need wide receiver help, and they could very well use him. Cleveland, or I'd say Cleveland, but he already played for Cleveland and obviously left on decently bad terms for just like ditching the team when he actually looked like he had tremendous potential there. I think a team that could definitely take a chance, probably one of the more realistic teams, is the Baltimore Ravens. They need wide receiver help, and if they do cut Jeremy Maclin, look for them to be interested in Terrell Pryor. Will they actually be interested in Terrell Pryor? I have no clue. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Let me know, like I said, who you think's going to land where, and who do you think is going to be the most paid, and who do you think is going to be the most underpaid player. It's going to be a fun, interesting day in free agency tomorrow, and let the dominoes fall.